This is Jim. He is a dog. You may feel that I am in danger of stating the obvious. However, Jim has been taken on occasion for 1, an old mop head.
Oh!
2, a caterpillar. 3, a hairy mushroom.
Ooh.
Jim was not a glamorous animal. He had a bald patch on his left leg, lopsided ears, a gamey whiff about him, and a rheumy eye through which he could see very little. These disadvantages notwithstanding, Jim happened extraordinarily to live in a grand museum in a very smart London district. How he got there is anybody's guess. The story went that back in the days when sending small children up chimneys to clean them was beginning to be frowned upon, an enterprising sweep named Josiah Gargle hit upon the idea of tying Jim to the end of his brush and pushing him up the chimney instead of his unfortunate apprentice, Ernie, who had grown too long for the purpose. One remarkable day, while sweeping the chimneys of a grand museum, the twine holding Jim to the brush end snapped, and Jim escaped. He ran about the choking, labyrinthine flues for some long, unpleasant moments before skidding and sliding down a very wide and sudden chimney into a very wide and sudden fireplace. Luckily, it being summer and the fire unlit, the worst consequences were the depositing of a quantity of soot over the assembled company and the attaching of a number of pointy decorative teasels to Jim's person. A rather portly gentleman with a wild shock of white hair suggested that Jim be washed and brought back. After several dunkings, latherings, scrubbings and rinsings, all unwelcome, Jim was returned, looking exactly the same. The portly gentleman covered in soot turned out to be none other than Sir Henry Cole, the director of the museum. Josiah Gargle was brought forth, babbling his apologies and offering to beat Jim soundly for his crimes. Sir Henry, having been soundly beaten himself while at school, turned down this kind offer and instead stated his intention of keeping Jim, on the condition that Mr. Gargle agreed not to beat Ernie or any person or animal ever again. So it was that Jim began his life as a museum dog. This museum was a marvel of construction. It had avenues, piazzas, porticos, galleries, courts, balconies, vistas, streets, pavilions, passages, piers, pagodas, palatial staircases, arches, domes, spires, gardens, fountains, balustrades, and 75 loos. To Jim, it was the entire world. Sir Henry was well-fed, kind, and had all his own hair. To Jim, he was everything you could possibly want in an owner. He followed Sir Henry wherever he went, and as something was forever being built in the museum, this meant the pair of them often walked many miles a day. Sir Henry constantly needed to send messages to his builders, his engineers, his artists, and his hairdresser, and he took to using Jim as a post dog. Jim, whose sense of direction had been finely honed in the chimney flues of his youth, found it easy to navigate the several buildings, and on the way he often visited his favourite scenes, places, and characters. There were many other dogs in the museum, mostly made of paint. Jim's favourite was a friendly but sad-looking creature, which sat at the feet of a young man holding an artist's palette and a paintbrush. Jim would often sit and bark at the dog until museum staff complained and Sir Henry would be sent for. "You can bark all you like, he won't hear you," said Sir Henry time and again, but Jim refused to believe him. The dog looked so real. Jim felt sure that if he tried hard enough, it would hear him and come to play. When Jim was not barking at the painted dog or delivering post, he indulged in his favourite pastime, which was reading. He was a great reader.